Here is part of a Sony stereo system that I picked up at the dump last week. We have the amplifier model TA-V5 and the tuner model ST-V5L. The L indicating that this does receive long wave, which of course these days doesn't do you any good anymore, because at least here in Germany there are no more stations left on long wave. At the dump they also had the matching record player, a really cool piece of equipment. It was a drawer style record player, so you would load the record into a drawer and the drawer would be driven into the unit to play the record. Unfortunately, the record player was already buried by a load of other junk, so I could see it, but I couldn't get it anymore. And the cassette deck, also very interesting construction with the mechanism mounted into a drawer. So yet again, the drawer would, well actually I think you did not even need to drive the drawer into the machine in order to be able to play a cassette. Anyway, I didn't get the cassette deck either because you could clearly tell that the mechanism was busted. There was absolutely nothing holding the drawer in place anymore, so that would not have been fixable. So the amplifier and the tuner. Well, to make it short, the amplifier doesn't work either. This very interesting design, in the early 1980s, Sony started using switch mode power supplies for some of their amplifiers, and this is one of them. As you can see, it proudly says on the front, Pulse Power Supply. And there it is, your switch mode power supply. Rectifier for the mains, big filter capacitor, that's sort of the input side, and then the actual converter is in that shielded box. And I guess that's where the problem is, because I did measure, the fuse is fine, and I do get mains voltage going into the power supply, but over here at the outputs, there is nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. So the pulse power supply, or switch mode power supply, is most likely broken. Also, it seems like this does have some problems with bad capacitors, because I do see on the components surrounding these capacitors, you can kind of see it, there is a lot of corrosion, green corrosion down in there. And of course you also have this nasty circuit glue that goes conductive. So quite a few problems in the amplifier. It doesn't turn on, it doesn't do anything, so I don't think I can do anything about this. I am going to keep it for a while, because maybe one of you happens to know what I can do to make this work. If there are maybe just one or two components in that power supply that need to be replaced or something. The tuner does work. I do quite like this setup right here. There is a backlight for all the station names that you have programmed into the memory. And this, as you can see, you can pull this out on the side. And there it is. So you would have gotten this tuner along with some labels. And as you can see, this station right there, this did not exist when the tuner came out. So they fabricated a little label just by scratching away some of the black paint. So that's a really quite nice design right there. I do quite like that. The tuner does get good reception. I already took a look inside. Everything looks fine. There is no nasty circuit glue. So it's really quite unfortunate that the tuner is really the only thing that works.
Wenn sie tanzt, ist sie woanders. Ich weiß doch, was du willst. Und immer für dich. Egal wie du mich nennst. When I know that all along I made a break.
Not sure why it keeps turning off the stereo when you switch stations. That's kind of weird. So that's the tuner. There is no point in demonstrating the other bands, medium wave and long wave, because, as I already said, there are no more stations left on there here in Germany. And the amplifier, yes, the amplifier does not work. I use this little amplifier on my workbench to amplify the output of the tuner. So there you have it, a little Sony stereo system. Unfortunately, I was not able to get the two most interesting components, the cassette deck and the record player, and unfortunately the amplifier is not working, so the whole thing is kind of pointless as it is right now. But maybe somebody knows something that I can do to change that, to make the amplifier work again. But for right now, that's it. Thank you for watching.